Hi guys, I'm Albie from the agency and we're here filming the third episode of the Mallorca Insider where I sit down with Drew Aaron from Lionsgate Capital and Gallery Red, talking a little bit about his journey coming from the US over to Mallorca. Mr. Drew Aaron, how are you, sir?
Good, Albie. How are you, my friend?
I am fantastic. How's your summer going?
Summer's going well. It's been crazy. Lots going on, but no complaints.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think it's been at least for us, it's been a very busy summer at the kind of, the June to middle of July, middle of August. And then the last week or so has just kind of really slowed down, which I think is quite nice. I think maybe kids going back to school soon and so on, people are kind of getting ready for that period, so it's a little bit more hectic for a lot of people.
I think that everyone doesn't realize, but all of Europe goes on vacation for the month of August.
Yeah.
Spain for sure. And when you deal with America, they're like, well, we get it, vacation, holiday, a week, 2 weeks. But for everyone just kind of disappearing for the whole month of August is something foreign to them.
Yeah.
And something it took a while to get used to. So it's difficult to get things done in August, especially here in Mallorca, but in Spain in general, in Europe. But no, for us, June, July, and August are usually little touristy months on the island. Few too many people on the island. But excited for September and the fall. I think it's best time to be in Mallorca.
Best time of the year. Yeah, for sure. No, I think it was the reason I wanted to have you here. I think you're quite a known figure on the island. A lot of people know who you are, but maybe people don't know a little bit more the why you're here and the kind of transition that you made. So obviously you're originally from the US. What is it about Mallorca and why did you decide to just kind of pick the family up and bring them here to the island?
No, listen, America's a great place to be and very proud American. That being said, with everything that's going on in America right now, the violence, the school shootings, the drug pandemics, and other things going on, it was a decision that the mother of my children and I made probably 10 years ago that we would raise the kids in Europe. And we needed to find where's the perfect place. And there are a lot of places that we've been to visit, but you can't move full-time to Ibiza. Ibiza is a summer beach town. It's a party town. It's a great place and beautiful, but they don't have the schools, the infrastructure. Neither is the south of France, and a lot of other great places. So for us, we were looking for a place that was much more all year round, much more family-oriented, a humble, low-key place to be. And for us, Mallorca just checked all the boxes. So we started visiting and looking at homes, and about 8 years ago, we moved full-time to Mallorca. At the time, we had one child, our son, and we had a daughter on the way, and ended up being the greatest move of our life.
Yeah. Had you been before, or was it just kind of...
We started coming to Mallorca about 15 years ago for a friend's surprise birthday party.
Yeah.
And we started up in the north. We were in Pollença and visited all the towns around there. Loved the trip. Next year, came back, stayed in Palma, explored the city. And each year did something different. Year after that, I think, was a West Coast trip, Valdemosa, Dea, Soller. And each trip, I think we saw, one, Mallorca was just growing as you've seen it, develop over the past years. And two, it's just a much bigger island than people think.
100%.
On the phone with, friends from New York all the time who were saying, you live on this tiny island, you walk out of your house, it must be in the water. And I'm like, no, it's a huge island. It's got, tons of schools and hospitals and restaurants and everything else. It's when people come here to visit, and a lot of New Yorkers and friends from Miami, LA are coming all the time. They realize it's a much bigger island. There's a lot more here than they think.
Yeah, it's funny. We have like agents and managing partners from our other offices that come all the time throughout the summer. And, they're sending me like, where do I go? Like sending me beaches and coves that they're going to. And I'm terrible for it and not actually visited them, because I think when you live here, you get so sucked into your own kind of routine and, you're working, and then on the weekend you have a couple of days and you might take a boat out somewhere, but you rarely actually make an effort to go and to these, so many different beautiful places that you just don't really ever get to. And I was watching who was it? Chris Hemsworth.
Okay.
I was watching a Chris Hemsworth documentary on Apple TV over the weekend, and he's doing this rock climbing thing, and he's in Cala Sanau. And I was like, that's just so weird to have seen someone like him to come all the way over here and go there. And I've been here 27 years and have never really made it happen. But I think I need to make a conscious effort sometimes. Maybe now September, when the island quietens out a little bit, to see a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always seeing the top 10 beaches in Mallorca, top 10 new restaurants in Mallorca, top this. And most of the times I look at these lists and I'm like, I've been to one of these places and I've been here for 8 years. Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's difficult to go everywhere. But I think, again, it goes back to there's a lot more than people think.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, it keeps changing. I mean, you said 2016 you moved here, right?
2016 we moved here, 2017 full time, but we started coming 2016. And, back then there was no new Four Seasons.
Yep.
The St. Regis was just going through a major overhaul. Now you have the Mandarin Oriental opening next year, which will be great. It's amazing just to see how things have changed.
Yeah, it's just something to see the island reach almost kind of a new level, right? And I think you probably see it, and we'll come to it in a sec, but you see it in the business, right? Where real estate prices are now, especially in the high end, are going crazy. And we got to a point, at least I did in the industry, where I was like, surely the prices can't continue to just go up and up and up. And now you see developers and like investors putting money into these projects that are going to be coming out at 20, 30, 40 million.
Absolutely.
Just think, whoa, this is just insane. But I think you alluded to a little bit before, and you look at Ibiza, you look at the south of France and these places. The infrastructure that we have here is you have everything, right? You have the nature, you can go hiking, you can go cycling, you can go, sailing, whatever, you can play golf and still be within 20, 30 minutes of the city. Yeah. Anywhere, right?
Now, Mallorca to have 320 days a year of sunshine, to have the safety that we have, but on top of that have, 50 different schools. There are new French schools. There are new British schools every year. There's the American school, the Rafael Nadal Academy, another one on the way. The Spanish schools, the local public schools are great. It goes back to the infrastructure. Mallorca, of the different places, you could look at, Istanbul's a great place to visit. You can say, people are going to Mykonos or they're going to the Greek islands. Any of the summer kind of typical getaway destinations. They're good for, 2 or 3 months a year. They're great to go visit, beautiful nature. Depends on what you want. If you want the party scene, they have that. If you want to do a beautiful, relaxing, vacation with your wife, you can do that, or your partner. But I think that, none of them are places that really you can live all year long that are completely sustainable for full year living.
Yeah.
And Mallorca just is that unique proposition. I think that's why we've seen the market double since we moved here. The homes that I was looking at in 2016, 2017, before we bought our first home in Alaro, the ones that were in the Southwest, the ones that were in Palma, are 2 times minimum the value, if you're seeing them come on the market, that they were then. So the market's doubled. In the center of the island, the market's tripled. A home that was, $5 million is now 15 million euros. A home that was, 10 million euros in the Southwest is 20 million euros. There's so little supply and just so much demand.
No, exactly. I think that's quite an interesting kind of point there, just to come back to when you moved here and you were looking for a house for yourself and for the family, right? I believe you encountered some difficulties when it came to, I guess, agents as well, but also the financing side of things. And you were moving here a little bit for a change of pace, but that didn't really happen. So what was that story about?
In the end, in the U.S., I was involved in a bunch of different things. So my main business is we owned a paper trading commodities company, and I had sold the business together with my family in 2017 to Konica Minolta, a big Asian conglomerate. So the idea was I was working New York kind of banker's hours, 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, which was not sustainable and definitely couldn't live that way forever, especially having children. So the plan was retire, move to Mallorca, get an olive farm and be an olive farmer.
Yeah.
That didn't exactly work out because I guess I was too young and I like to be busy.
Yeah.
And in looking at buying homes in Mallorca and in Spain, there's a wealth tax. And coming from America, there is no such thing as a wealth tax. I'd never heard of this before. And my advisors in New York, and we started speaking to the people in my team in Madrid and then Mallorca, and they were telling us that, they tax you on your global assets. And I said, this is crazy. They said, what are you thinking moving to Spain? But there are ways to navigate through this, and working with the right tax advisors, the right accountants and lawyers. There's Beckham status, which you can apply for, and I had Beckham status for a few years. There's also the easiest way to, especially on your primary asset, not pay the wealth tax is to get a mortgage. So at the time, interest rates were quite low. It's typical to look at interest rates in Spain are half what they are in the major countries in Europe. So if you look at interest rates today in Spain, they're half what they are in Germany, Switzerland, France, any of the major, UK, any of the major countries located throughout Europe, but they're a third what they are in the US.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the interest rates are 6% in the US, and they'll be going down and dropping to 5%. Interest rates are 2% today in Spain, and they'll be dropping lower as well. So in the end, if you buy a house and it's above a certain threshold, which continues to change based on the government, the easy way to not pay the wealth tax is to get a mortgage. Because in the end, if a bank or an institution owns part of your home, the government can't tax you on that portion.
Yeah, you're only paying tax on what you physically owe.
Correct.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point. Actually, you mentioned it changes on the government. So right now, I think the threshold is 3 million per person, right? But if people are investing these kind of, we were talking 20, 30 millions before. If you're buying a house like that, then it makes so much sense to get a mortgage anyway, because that might change at some point, right? So you're protected.
100%. That could go back they could bring the wealth tax up to 3.5%, which they're talking about. One day it could be 4%.
Yeah.
But separate of that threshold could go back down to 700,000, which was. When moving here, I was shocked that there wasn't a real legitimate mortgage broker. There were a couple of people working out of their homes, which were nice people. They were the banks directly. But when you're coming from America or coming from Switzerland to the UK, when you don't speak Spanish, it's difficult to work with the banks directly.
Yep.
And in the end, I met a woman by the name of Juanita Cansas. Yeah. She was the director of Banco Santander for the Balearics at the time, which is the largest bank in Spain. And we totally hit it off. She was a global, great banker. She was fast as could be. And together we founded Lionsgate Capital. And fast forward now almost 10 years, we're the largest financing company in the country of Spain, focusing on luxury properties, 1 million euros and above. And many of our clients are cash buyers. They've never had a mortgage in their life. They don't need the money, but because rates are so low in Spain, and they're buying 3, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million euro homes in Mallorca, in Marbella, and throughout Costa del Sol, in Ibiza. Now Madrid has become a huge market for us.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They're realizing, why would we park 20 million euros in this house, pay a big wealth tax every year, pay 200,000 euros a year in wealth tax every year for the rest of our lives for a second or third or fourth home, when instead we can finance 70% with the local banks in Spain at great rates. We can get them a Lombard loan out of Luxembourg or Switzerland for the balance. And Juanita's put together a great team. And we have so many clients who are coming in every week that are people who say, I've never had a mortgage in my life.
Yeah.
I'm a cash buyer. I'm German. I'm British. I'm Swiss. I'm Scandinavian. Give me the biggest mortgage you can in my house. I want to take advantage of these really low rates. I want to take my 20 million euros and invest it somewhere elsewhere.
But in the market.
Whether it's in the market, whether it's in other real estate, whether it's investing in their company, investing in Apple funds, whatever they want. But in the end, it just makes sense to finance in Spain.
Yeah. But I think your advisors is so key, right? We've had 2 deals with you guys this year. Both clients had no intention of getting a mortgage. They were very old school and like, no, I rather own it in cash. I don't want to owe anything to anyone. But as soon as you open up that door and you explain it all of a sudden it's like lights going off. You know what I mean? Like, okay, now this makes a lot of sense. I had a client 2.5 years ago who was buying a pretty big house on the island. He was buying for around 16 million. And I told him from straight away, I said, listen, get a mortgage. I explained them the reasons why, and I think we even had a friendly conversation with you guys. And super old school guy was like, nope, I'm not interested. Fast forward now, 2.5, 3 years on, he's paying 400,000 a year in wealth tax.
It's crazy. And in the end, the wealth tax, it's different if you're paying regular real estate tax. Again, coming from America, you pay a real estate tax. You pay your local tax and you pay tax on your earnings,
Yep.
but those go to pay for paving roads. They go to pay for schools. They go to pay for education, healthcare, and things like that. The wealth tax that you're paying here is it's a personal wealth tax. It's not going to benefit anyone you know. The money is not going to do anything. So when you're buying your main home here, or a second or third or fourth home, you're kind of just giving that money away, when instead you can be investing elsewhere. We had a client from Madrid who was buying a crazy duplex or triplex for 20 million euros. And in the end, they never heard of this wealth tax either.
Yeah.
And Madrid is doing great. It's a booming market. And they came to us and they said, we're buying one of the more expensive properties on the market in Madrid, and we're going to walk away from the property. And the brokers told us about it, and we were able to get in touch with the clients. We explained to them, we can finance 70% of this. The rate that we got them was around 2%, 2%. And in the end, they negated the entire wealth tax. We got them a mortgage for almost 17 million.
Yeah.
And they were thrilled.
I hope the agent bought you a nice bottle of wine for that.
They sent a nice case of wine to the office.
Yeah, you better.
I don't think I got any, but the team got some. They did the heavy lift.
Well, keep the team happy. That also works. Yeah.
The team's fantastic.
Yeah. So that was phase one of your kind of ventures, but then something else came along a little bit after that. So
Yes. Should have remained retired. That would have been much easier.
Yeah.
A couple years into Lionsgate, back in 2000, I guess it was 2018, 2019, there was a gallery that I was buying a bunch of local art from, Great Mallorca Gallery, came to us and asked if I wanted to buy their gallery. I, of course, said absolutely not. Have a lot of friends who own galleries. It's not a great business. These days, a lot of galleries are in trouble. And I ended up getting stuck with one space, and that was the beginning of Gallery Red.
Okay. Was that the current space you have now, the first one in the corner, or is he somewhere
We
else?
still have the space now.
Yeah.
Gallery Red technically has 10 spaces in the country of Spain, 18 spaces total, 10 open to the public, and the rest are by appointment only. We curate the art for the private airport in Mallorca, private airport in Ibiza, a lot of select spaces throughout the island. We're working with Mandarin Oriental on their new project. We do the St. Regis Hotel, Bendenac Paddle. We do the art for certain clinics on the island, like Palma Clinic. And we choose kind of best-in-class spaces throughout the island to display the art for people to be able to see and enjoy it, and where we think it's good for our artists. And most recently, our latest expansion was into Paris.
Amazing.
So
That's an exciting move.
it's a really exciting move. I think that for artists, it was important that Mallorca is a great place for artists to be, because people are coming from the Scandinavian countries, they're coming from South America, they're coming from the US now. A ton of people are coming with the direct flights. They're coming from Australia, and then, of course, all of the major European countries. So Mallorca is a great place for an artist, no matter where you're located, to get great exposure from around the world. But in the end of the day, we needed to tie ourselves to a major art city. And in looking at New York, London, Paris, Hong Kong, which have historically been the major art cities in the world, New York's in a little bit of a difficult position right now.
Yeah.
The art scene there is definitely hurting a little bit. London post-Brexit, a lot of the galleries have moved out of London, still also an amazing city, and I love London. I go to visit often. And Hong Kong, since everything's changed there, has shifted a little bit the art world. So Paris became the obvious choice. After the Olympics last year, the city's really thriving and in a great spot. And we opened our first gallery in the 8th District, which is where a lot of the newer galleries are. And we're about to open our second space there next year, which will be in Saint-Germain, which is kind of the home of art in Paris.
Okay.
Where Picasso and Hemingway and many historic people were in the art and the culture world. And it's great for artists because now we're Mallorca, Paris.
Yeah. Artist-wise, are you dealing with mainly kind of local artists, or are you doing a mix of kind of local, international?
It's a great question. Our artist mix is completely international.
Okay.
So for the emerging artists we represent about 30 different emerging artists from around the world. They range from local Mallorquin artists from mainland, from Madrid and Barcelona, but we also have artists that are from Brazil, Rio and Sao Paulo, and throughout South America. We have artists that are from the UK and Wales. We have artists that are from Belgium, from Denmark. We have artists that are from Australia, Germany for sure, Switzerland, New York, LA, Miami. So our artists really span the gambit. We've got a great South African artist, so our artists from around the world, and we're super selective of who we take on. We only represent artists that we really feel are top emerging artists that one day could be the next Warhol, Basquiat, Jeff Koons, Damien Hirst, etc. So they're artists who we see their career, their trajectory going in the right directions, working with the right museum collections, doing the right solo shows, working with other great partner galleries around the world. And for us, we have two different markets, the emerging artists and then the secondary market, where we do have artworks that you can buy from Basquiat or Andy Warhol, which are investment-worthy art also. And the key is to kind of find where the two merge together.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's probably where you have, like you said, you have, was it 6 spaces that are by appointment only? Is that where you keep these kind of works so that clients that are coming, they're not, with other people in the gallery, they're there on their own, and they get to have that kind of whole white glove experience or something like that?
Yeah, it's each space has its own different purpose. So we definitely have certain places that have more expensive art, right, at a different price level. You can buy Basquiat work on paper for 100,000 euros, 200,000, 500,000 euros. These days, a big, amazing masterpiece on paper from Basquiat can be 7 to 10 million euros on paper, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you get on to work on board or work on canvas. So each space kind of serves a different purpose. And when you come to Gallery Red, one thing we like to be is approachable. You have a lot of these galleries, and I spend a lot of time in Paris, in London, in Milan, in Berlin, and New York, and the major art cities. And I go into a lot of these galleries, and they're very unapproachable.
Yeah.
And they're the top name galleries. They're galleries I collect from, and I've been a collector for 20 plus years. Again, I never wanted to be a gallerist, but I go to these galleries, and no one really says hi to you. They're kind of these polished concrete floors, white walls, 8 pieces hanging there, and you ask a question, how much is this piece of art? And they say, leave your information. The director will get back to you.
Yeah.
And it's very intimidating. Yeah. And as a collector and somebody who says, I could probably buy that piece of art on the wall. Why wouldn't you just give me the information? I understand why a lot of new collectors, who are a lot of the gallery clients that come to Gallery Red and a lot of our loyal clients, have us not only do their home in Mallorca, but 90% of what we sell at Gallery Red leaves the country of Spain and ships to the UK. It's going to London. It's going throughout Germany to the major cities. It's going to Switzerland, the Scandinavian countries. It's going to the US. We ship to the US every day, and we become these clients' home gallery because Gallery Red has a much more warm feel. We're much more inviting. Clients come in and they have a coffee and they sit down with members of our teams. We educate them on different artists. And I don't think they feel intimidated saying, who is this artist or where are they from? Or is this 5,000 euros? Is it 50,000 euros? Is it 5 million euros?
No stupid questions.
No stupid questions.
Yeah.
Every question is a good question.
I think in general, in the luxury space, I see that a lot. Like you go into Loro Piana, you go into any of these stores, and the kind of level of service that you get from, the salespeople there, it's so bizarre. And I don't quite understand it, because you're going spending a hell of a lot of money. You do kind of expect a level of service, but half the time it's kind of like, go away. Like you said, do you have an appointment? No, not interested in speaking to you. And I think, turning that a little bit into real estate, it's like when you have a real estate brand and you're out and you're dealing with clients, it's like, you're showing multi-million euro homes to multi-millionaires, billionaires, but really it's about people, right? So they're buying from you because they like you. So you're about building a relationship. And then when you build that relationship, it's like you said, they will buy from you the first time, and then when they come to sell, they will sell from you. And the same way you said with art, they will service, they will have you do all of their houses or all of their whatever they want to do around the world, because it's a people's business.
100%. It's all about relationships, and the clients that you're selling to, the agency is selling to, the same clients we're selling to, the people who are buying million, 3 million, 5 million, 20, 50 million euro homes. It could be in Beverly Hills. Yeah. It could be in New York City. It could be in Mallorca. It could be in Madrid. It could be anywhere. These clients, they're not getting dressed up to go see a house. You're in Mallorca. Everybody wears jeans and a t-shirt. It's 35 degrees outside. Yeah. It's 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Nobody's getting dressed up to go see a piece of art. And we have a lot of clients who show up at the gallery spaces, and they're sweaty. They're coming from a jog. They're coming from riding their bike to the gallery from Daya.
Yes.
These are people who are not going to get dressed up to go buy a piece of art. They're on their holidays. They're together with their spouses, partners, kids, and it's something where, it's the old Julia Roberts scene from the movie Pretty Woman.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, and I think a lot of galleries globally, and I'm sure it happens in your business as well, miss out because people judge a book by its cover, which 100%. Is something you can never do.
No. And here in Mallorca, it has that more laid-back feel, right? So, compared to, say, maybe Marbella or the south of France, everyone's really dressed up, and it's all about, that's the market there, and that's the vibe that you have when you're in that place. But I feel like here in Mallorca, people are just in linen and flip-flops, and they came in on a private jet, but they're walking around Daya and they're in flip-flops, and it's very unassuming. And I think people don't realize how much wealth is probably on this island.
100%. I like Mallorca a lot more than Marbella is a great place to be, and we do business there in finance. We sell art into Marbella as well, but everybody is decked out and dressed up. This summer, expanding into Paris, I spent time in the south of France and went to Saint-Tropez, and it's not my scene. I'm too old for that. I'm not a party guy. I'm not a club guy. But I also I don't like the bling bling kind of flashy type of scene. I'm more of a low key guy, and I like that Mallorca caters to that. I think that, there's something for everybody, and Mallorca is not for everyone, but I think one of the reasons why it's become very popular is when people are here, no one's caring about what they wear. No one's caring about what they do. They're caring about, I think, spending quality time, whether it's in nature, whether it's in the sea, whether it's at great dinners or lunches with their family, but it's about quality of life. And definitely here is a place where any client that comes in, you need to look at as a good client.
Yep.
And even if it's, a couple of teenagers pop in and say, who's this artist or what's going on, you never know. Maybe they're going to post a picture on Instagram. Maybe they're going to, show it to their family at dinner, and their family's going to come in. So I think for us, all clients are good clients.
Yeah, 100%. There was something I wanted to ask you about because I read it and it made me laugh. I think you were asked once, for a young person starting a business in Mallorca, what would you recommend? And your words were, don't do it. So assuming it's too late and they've already done it, do you have any other words of wisdom for that?
Well, one, I'd say Richard Branson came and opened Sambagnola a couple of years ago, which is one of the top hotels in the island. And he's a much smarter guy than I am with a lot more business experience. And I think he had a better quote, and they said it took 20 years to open a hotel in Mallorca, but only 1 year to put a man on the moon, and or someone into space. So bottom line is, in the end, it's difficult to do business in Mallorca, but at the same time, and challenging. It's difficult because it's a new place. Mm-hmm. The rules are different here. You need to definitely follow the guidelines of Mallorca, which are clearly spelled out. So if you're going to make that step and do business here, which in the end I'm thrilled we ended up doing, we love Lionsgate Capital. Gallery Red's become top gallery for contemporary art in the country of Spain, which is something we're really proud of. I think that the key is, one, have yourself surrounded by the right professionals. So whether it's lawyers, we have a fantastic corporate lawyer who's helped guide us through how to do everything, have the right accountants, the right tax advisors, have a lot of friends, have the right real estate broker, have certain people who've lived here longer than you or had other businesses, and just ask a lot of advice. Questions are something that are a good thing to do, and I have lots of people who are starting businesses that come and ask me questions. And I always say, learn from all my mistakes. And I've made all of them. I've made tons of mistakes. I'm still making mistakes every day. But no, it's a difficult business climate to get started. Once you get things going, things start running a lot more smoothly. And you just need to live and learn. Yeah, no, I agree. I think you nailed it there. I think the people you surround yourself with and you work with is obviously is a reflection to some degree of how the business will go. And that leads a lot to you as well, because I think since we moved and transitioned to the agency, you've always been a huge support, and we've done a lot of events together, and I'm sure we'll do more going forward. So obviously, thank you for that, and appreciate you sitting down with me here today. It's been a lot of fun. No, it's my pleasure. I appreciate you guys coming to the island. I think the agency has been a great addition. I think it represents what a lot of buyers are looking for, and definitely with a lot of the Americans coming, but the expats as well. I think the agency does a really good job of making people feel comfortable and showing them different parts of the island and explaining things. So I think you've done a great job, and congrats on what you've built here. And I think we're all just getting started. I think we're going to be neighbors soon.
We are going to be neighbors, yeah. I think, again, depending on Spanish builders, but the idea is we're going to be in the office from the 1st of October. So it might be sooner, but that's probably what we're looking at. And so, yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Can't wait to see you soon. Well, thanks so much for having me.
Of course, you're very welcome.